All right, so welcome to the deep dive where, we kind of we take a deep dive into some cutting edge research and try to resurface with some cool insights, the kind of stuff that makes you go, whoa, I didn't know that.
That's right.
And today we're looking at AI image generation, specifically, a new research paper that's trying to solve a pretty big challenge.
Yeah.
So getting AI to accurately place like the location of objects in an image,
Right.
and then also describe those objects just from a text prompt, like you just type some words and it makes a picture.
Yeah,
It's a lot harder than it sounds, believe it or not.
it is.
I mean, imagine trying to get an AI to draw a picture with a red ball on the left, and then in the middle you've got a blue cat,
Okay.
and then just to make things really interesting, on the right side, a yellow banana on a unicycle.
Wow. That's,
Right. Sounds fun, right?
yeah, that's a pretty wild image.
It is.
Yeah.
But for AI, that kind of thing, I mean, it's like, whoa, wait, what do I do with this?
Yeah, even some of the like state-of-the-art AI models, like, DALL-E 3, even they struggle with this.
They do.
Yeah.
And that's where this research paper that we're going to deep dive on today comes in.
Okay.
It's called ROI-Ctrl, Boosting Instance Control for Visual Generation.
Catchy title.
It is,
Yeah.
It's by a team from Meta and the National University of Singapore.
Cool.
Yeah, if anybody wants to go read the whole thing,
Yeah.
you can find it online. Just search for it.
The authors actually came up with a really interesting example to kind of show how hard this is for AI.
Okay.
They call it the Chihuahua or Muffin Grid Test.
Oh, I love that. It's like that classic internet meme.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like you see a picture and you're like, is that a fluffy dog? Or is that a muffin? I don't know.
Right. It's so hard to tell.
It is.
Yeah, so they basically challenged DALL-E 3 to place 9 different images
Okay.
in a 3x3 grid
Okay.
based on like text descriptions. And the results, it was really interesting.
What happened?
They found that sometimes it would mix up the placements, like put the wrong image in the wrong spot.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes it would like merge objects together in ways that didn't make sense.
Oh, wow.
So it really highlighted how difficult it is for AI to consistently get this multi-object scene stuff, right?
It's like, when we think about how we learn to see things as humans, it's the same kind of journey, right? First, you learn to recognize like a single object. Oh, that's a ball. That's a cat.
Yeah.
But then you have to develop this ability to process like a whole scene, right?
But to understand the relationships between objects.
And that's exactly what's happening with AI right now.
It's a huge step forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's moving beyond like, can I just identify one thing at a time? To like, okay, now I need to understand how all of these things interact with each other in a scene.
It's really exciting.
So how does this paper actually propose we can solve this problem?
Well, they actually start by looking at 2 existing approaches
Okay.
for controlling objects in, AI-generated images.
Okay, so there are already some ways people have tried to do this.
Right.
Right.
What are they?
The first one is called implicit ROI injection.
Okay.
And ROI stands for region of interest.
Okay, so we're talking about like specific areas within the picture.
Exactly.
Got it.
So this method basically tries to combine the location data, like where the object should be, and the description data, what the object is, into like one single instruction.
Okay, so it's like saying, hey, AI, put the blue cat right here.
Exactly, yeah.
Got it.
But the issue is sometimes things get a little messy.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, AI can kind of mix up those instructions.
Really?
Yeah, and it can lead to what they call attribute leakage.
Attribute leakage. What's that?
So imagine you tell the AI to put a red ball on the left and a blue cat on the right.
And it ends up creating like this purplish blob in the middle.
Oh, so it's like the AI's getting its colors mixed up.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's where the second approach comes in. It's called explicit ROI injection.
Okay, explicit, so it's more direct.
Yeah, this method uses masks.
Masks.
Yeah, like, like the stencils.
Oh, okay.
To clearly define where each object should go in the image.
So it's like we're giving the AI like a coloring book with the outlines already there, and it just has to fill in the colors.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, that seems like it would be more precise.
It is. It's much more accurate.
Right.
But there's a downside.
Oh, there's always a downside.
There is. This method is really computationally expensive.
Expensive.
It takes a lot of processing power.
Oh, so it's really slow.
Yeah, it's not very efficient.
So it's like, okay, we've got one method that's a bit messy and another one that's like a resource hog.
Right.
So, I mean, what do we do? What's the solution here?
Well, that's where the authors introduced this really cool new technique called ROI-Unpool.
ROI-Unpool. Okay, I like the sound of that already.
Yeah.
But I gotta ask, what is it? What does it actually do?
Okay, think of it like this.
Okay.
Imagine you're creating a digital collage. Like you're arranging and layering different images together.
Mm-hmm.
ROI-Unpool is like the AI's version of cut and paste.
So it's like giving the AI scissors and glue?
Basically, yeah. It lets the AI precisely extract information about a specific object, its shape, its color, its texture,
Okay.
and then manipulate it within the image without affecting anything else around it.
So it's like giving the AI these really precise editing tools specifically for image generation.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
So that brings us to ROICtrl, right? That's like the big thing here.
Right, so ROICtrl is like an adapter.
Adapter, okay.
It takes this ROI-Unpool technique and uses it to enhance existing AI models.
So it's like taking, I don't know, like a regular car and you add a turbocharger to it.
Exactly, it gives it a boost.
It's a performance boost.
Right.
Okay, I like that analogy.
It's a good one.
So you're saying it's compatible with other AI models out there? We don't have to start from scratch.
Exactly. You can just plug it in.
Wow, that's a game changer.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Big time.
But I remember reading somewhere that a lot of the prior research in this area, it was kind of limited,
Yeah.
They were using really simple descriptions of objects.
Right.
Like red circle, blue square.
Yeah, really basic stuff.
Yeah. That's not very creative, is it?
No, it's pretty limiting.
Yeah. Yeah. But ROICtrl is different?
ROICtrl changes all that.
Okay, how so?
It's designed to work with, like free-form text descriptions.
Oh, that's much more interesting. So I can
Yeah.
give it like really complex descriptions and it'll actually try to understand them.
Yeah, it gives users way more flexibility.
Right.
And creative control over the objects they want to generate.
So instead of just saying like red circle, I could say something like a fluffy pink unicorn wearing a top hat riding a skateboard.
And ROICtrl would try to make that happen.
Whoa, that's amazing. I mean, I know there are still limits to what AI can do.
Right, of course.
But this opens up so many possibilities.
It does. It's a whole new realm for multi-object image generation.
I'm getting really excited about this. But let's get down to brass tacks. How well does this thing actually perform?
Well, the paper, they did a bunch of tests.
Okay.
Comparing ROICtrl to other methods and the findings, they're pretty remarkable.
Really? Give me the highlights.
So ROICtrl consistently outperformed the competition across various benchmarks.
Okay, that's good.
Particularly when generating small objects.
Okay.
Or working with unusual, like, out-of-distribution prompts.
Out of distribution?
Yeah, the kind of things that usually trip up other AI models.
Okay, so the weird stuff, the stuff that's unexpected.
Right.
Give me some numbers. I love numbers.
Okay, so in one test, ROICtrl achieved a 9.8x speedup.
9.8x.
Yep, compared to another method called instance diffusion.
Wow. That's a huge difference.
It is.
So it's like way faster.
Way faster.
Okay, but speed isn't everything, right?
Right. Accuracy matters too.
Exactly. So was it actually able to like place and describe objects correctly?
That's where things get even more interesting.
All right, I'm listening.
It showed significantly improved accuracy.
Okay.
Especially when handling those tricky, out-of-distribution prompts.
So, like, remember that pink unicorn on a skateboard?
Yeah.
It could actually handle that kind of description.
It was much better at understanding.
Wow.
And generating images from those unconventional prompts.
This is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
It seems like ROICtrl is a major step forward.
It is.
But where do we go from here? I mean, what are the implications of this?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is.
The authors actually, they believe ROICtrl could be used for video generation.
Hold on, wait. So we're talking about AI generating videos with multiple objects.
Right.
And I could customize those objects all through text prompts.
Potentially, yeah.
That would be revolutionary. I mean, think about filmmaking, advertising, video games.
It's huge.
The possibilities seem endless.
They do.
But, we also need to be mindful of the potential downsides here.
Oh, absolutely.
We touched on this earlier.
Right. The responsible use of AI.
It's one thing for AI to generate a cute picture of a unicorn on a skateboard.
Yeah.
But what happens when it can create, like photorealistic videos
right.
that are indistinguishable from real life?
That's when things get a little scary.
The potential for misuse is a real concern.
It is.
Especially when you think about things like deepfakes, the spread of misinformation.
Absolutely.
So we need to be thinking about safeguards,
yes.
ethical guidelines for how this technology is developed and used.
We can't just ignore those things.
Absolutely not. Okay, so Let's shift gears a little bit and dive a little deeper into the technical side of things.
Sounds good to me.
We talked about those impressive results,
Yeah.
but I'm curious, were there any limitations that the researchers encountered?
That's a great question. And the paper actually is very transparent about the challenges they face.
Oh, spill the beans. What kind of limitations are we talking about?
One area where ROI-Ctrl still struggles is with heavily overlapping objects,
Okay.
especially if those objects have really similar descriptions.
So, like, if I told the AI to generate two identical red balls that are partially obscuring each other,
Right.
it might have a hard time knowing where one ball ends and the other begins.
Exactly. In those situations, the AI needs to rely more on like the overall context of the image, the scene as a whole, to accurately like separate and depict those objects.
So it's like if I asked you to draw two overlapping circles and I said, okay, they're both red, you might have a hard time knowing exactly how much of each circle to color in.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it.
And right now, ROI-Ctrl kind of prioritizes those individual object descriptions over that overall scene context.
Exactly.
Which can lead to, some not so great results in those tricky overlapping situations.
Yeah, there's definitely room for improvement there.
But I mean, the progress they've made is still amazing.
Oh, absolutely. ROI-Ctrl is a huge step forward.
It really feels like we've unlocked this new level of control and creativity.
It does.
And who knows what incredible things people will create with this technology.
I can't wait to see.
But let's circle back to those broader implications we were discussing.
Okay.
The potential for ROI-Ctrl to revolutionize not just image generation, but video generation too.
Right. That's the really mind-boggling part.
Okay, so break that down for me a little bit more.
Imagine being able to create realistic videos.
Right.
With multiple characters, objects, environments, and it's all controlled through text prompts.
So it's like having a virtual film set inside your computer.
Yeah. You could direct entire scenes, choreograph complex actions.
Manipulate the emotions and expressions of characters.
All through the power of language.
The possibilities are truly endless.
They are.
Think about educational videos, immersive virtual reality experiences, personalized ads.
Yeah, it's like we're on the cusp of this new era.
It really is.
Of digital content creation. And the only limit is your imagination.
But we got to be cautious, right?
Right, with great power
comes great responsibility.
Exactly.
As AI gets better at generating these hyper-realistic things, the line between real and fake, it's going to get blurrier and blurrier.
That's a scary thought.
It is scary, and it's something we need to address head on.
We do.
So what can we do? How do we make sure AI is used for good?
That's the million-dollar question.
It is, and there are no easy answers.
Not at all.
But it's a conversation we need to be having now.
The sooner the better.
We need to involve everybody in this.
Absolutely.
AI, researchers, ethicists, policymakers, the public.
Everyone has a stake in this.
We need ethical guidelines, regulations, education.
We need it all.
It's a complex issue.
It is.
But we can't afford to ignore it.
No, we can't.
The future of AI is being shaped right now, and we all have a role to play in making sure it's a future that benefits everyone.
That's the goal.
Well said.
Thanks.
And that brings us to the end of part 1 of our deep dive into the world of ROI-Ctrl.
Great stuff.
Join us in part 2, where we'll keep exploring this amazing technology and its potential impact on the future.
Looking forward to it.
See you there.
See you then. So, picking up where we left off.
Right, before we
were talking about ROI-Ctrl and...
Yeah, all the potential, all the possibilities.
Mind-blowing possibilities for video generation.
I mean, really, can you imagine creating entire films, video games, all from, just typing words?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about.
A virtual film set inside your computer.
And the impact on all those industries.
Filmmaking, advertising.
Massive.
But, as with anything this powerful, we got to be cautious, right?
Absolutely.
We were just talking about responsible use before.
Right. I mean, it's one thing to have AI make a funny picture of a unicorn.
Right. Cute, harmless.
But photorealistic videos.
That's a whole other...
That are impossible to tell from real life.
Yeah, that's where it gets...
That's where it gets a little...
A little unnerving.
Yeah, unnerving.
Deep fakes, misinformation, all that stuff.
It's a real concern.
So we need to be thinking about safeguards right now.
Yeah.
Ethical guidelines, how we develop this stuff, how people use it.
Can't just sweep that under the rug.
No, absolutely not.
No.
So, okay, let's shift gears for a second. Okay. Talk a little more techie stuff, under the hood.
Yeah, get into the nitty-gritty.
We were impressed by the results.
Yeah, it performs really well.
But were there any limitations the researchers hit?
The paper is actually very upfront about that.
Oh, good. I like that.
Yeah, they're honest about the challenges.
So tell me, what kind of limitations?
One area they're still working on is when objects overlap a lot.
Okay, makes sense.
Especially if they've got similar descriptions.
So like two red balls right on top of each other?
Exactly.
Hard to tell where one ends, the other begins.
The AI needs more context.
Okay.
It needs to see the whole picture.
Not just the individual pieces.
To really separate them properly.
It's like that thing we were saying before about the drawing.
Right.
If I say draw two circles, both red, but they overlap.
Tough to know how much to color, right?
Exactly. So ROICtrl is still prioritizing the individual descriptions.
A little too much, yeah.
Over the big picture, the scene.
Yeah, that can make things look a little wonky.
But hey, still, amazing progress overall.
Oh, absolutely. A huge leap forward.
It really feels like with this tool, we can do so much more.
It's exciting.
Control, creativity, it's a whole new level.
And who knows what people will come up with.
I can't even imagine.
Speaking of which, let's loop back to those big picture implications.
Right. The future of all this.
It's not just about images anymore.
No, video, that's where it gets really wild.
Mind-boggling potential.
So paint that picture for me again in a little more detail.
Okay, imagine realistic videos, characters, objects, whole environments, all from what you type.
A virtual film studio right inside your computer.
Direct scenes, choreograph actions.
Even like make the characters show emotions, expressions.
All through language.
Endless possibilities.
Pretty much.
Educational videos, VR, even like custom-made ads.
Oh, yeah. Target your audience perfectly.
A whole new era of creating stuff digitally.
Only limited by, what you can come up with.
Which is a little scary when you think about it.
True.
Like all that power, we got to be responsible.
Oh, absolutely. Remember what we said before?
For great power
comes great responsibility.
That's it.
The better AI gets at making things look real, the harder it's going to be to tell real from fake. And that's a problem.
A big one.
We got to get ahead of this.
So what do we do? How do we make sure this tech is used for good?
Tricky question. No easy answers.
I know, but we got to start somewhere.
We do.
And it has to be now, not later.
Couldn't agree more.
This can't just be a discussion for the tech people.
Right.
We need everyone involved.
Ethicists, policymakers, the public.
Everyone has a stake in this.
It's the future we're talking about.
Clear guidelines, transparency, a culture of doing the right thing.
We need it all.
It's complex.
It is.
But we can't just bury our heads in the sand.
Nope.
This is happening right now.
And we can shape it.
Make sure it's a future that benefits everyone.
That's what we're aiming for.
Well said.
Thanks.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of part 2 of our deep dive on ROICtrl.
Great discussion.
Join us for the final part, where we'll wrap things up and really get into the nuts and bolts of how this technology works.
Looking forward to it.
See you then. Welcome back to the deep dive.
Glad to have you.
Where we've been unpacking that incredible new AI technology, ROICtrl.
Pushing the limits, that's for sure.
I mean, really revolutionizing how we think about image generation.
Absolutely.
We've talked about how it can understand these complex scenes.
Right.
Multiple objects, all controlled by just, typing in words.
Just language. It's amazing.
And how this could change everything for video, too.
Oh, yeah. A whole new world there.
But also the ethical stuff.
Right. Can't forget about that.
The responsibility that comes with this power.
Gotta be careful.
So today, let's get even more into the nitty-gritty.
Right. TikTok time.
Yeah, the technical stuff that makes ROICtrl tick.
What's under the hood?
We've mentioned this thing called ROI-Unpool.
Right, a few times now.
But I gotta admit, I'm still a little fuzzy on how it actually works.
Okay, well, think of it like this.
Okay.
An AI image model, it's kind of like a complex recipe.
A recipe.
Yeah, with lots of ingredients.
I'm picturing like a digital cake.
Okay, yeah.
Layers of algorithms, data, all mixed together.
And ROI-Unpool, it's a special tool.
A tool for this recipe.
Yeah, it lets the AI grab and change individual ingredients.
So it's like super precise control.
Exactly.
Not just throwing everything in at once.
Right, more like, you're carefully adding a pinch of salt.
Or folding in the egg whites,
Yeah,
right?
Precisely.
So it can fine-tune each element.
Shape, color, texture.
Without messing up the rest.
It's amazing how accurate it is.
And that's what sets it apart from what we had before.
Oh, yeah, night and day.
It's like the difference between having a butter knife and a scalpel.
That's a good one.
That precision, that's key for realistic, good-looking images.
It's what makes it work so well.
But ROI-Unpool, it's not the only cool thing here, right?
Sure, right. There's more.
We talked earlier about how ROICtrl handles overlapping objects.
Right. That was a challenge.
And it had this mechanism for, like, blending.
Right. Blending information.
Like, looking at the details of each object, but also the whole scene together.
It has to balance both.
It's like, it's not just seeing the trees, it's also seeing the whole forest.
That's a good way to put it.
So it's developing a better sense of composition, you know.
Absolutely, like an artist.
So we've got this amazing tool now.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Precise object control, this smart blending.
What's next, right? Where do we go from here?
That's the question. I mean, the researchers, what are they thinking?
They're already looking at even more complex stuff.
Like what? Give me examples.
Interactive 3D environments.
Whoa. So like virtual worlds we can walk around in?
That's the idea.
And photorealistic animations.
Right. Like something out of a movie.
The possibilities are truly endless.
They really are.
It feels like we're just at the beginning.
Yeah, this is just the start.
Of this whole new era of creating things digitally.
And we have to be mindful of that power, you know?
Right. We've talked about that.
The potential for misuse.
It's there. We can't ignore it. It's like opening Pandora's box.
We have to be prepared for what comes out.
So it comes back to that conversation we've been having.
About responsibility, ethics.
Open and honest, everybody involved.
Researchers, ethicists, the public, everyone.
We need those guidelines, that transparency.
And a commitment to using it for good.
So the future of AI, it's being shaped right now.
This is it. This is the moment.
And we all have a role to play.
In making sure it's a future that benefits all of us.
That's the goal.
A future where AI helps us.
Not hurts us.
Exactly.
Well, on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive into ROICtrl.
It's been quite a journey.
We've explored the research, the tech, the possibilities, the challenges.
A lot to think about.
We hope you've enjoyed this exploration as much as we have.
And that you'll keep diving deep with us.
Into the ever-evolving world of AI.
Always learning, always questioning.
Until next time, keep those minds open.